All right, so in this video, we are going to be going over, I've gotten this request a lot, how do you use AI in the first place? What are the basic things that you should be knowing about AI in the first place? So let's go over a couple of the very, very important things that I think that you should know. Now, before we even get into prompts, actually, I think it's important that we talk about connectors. Now, what is a connector? So let's go right here. Now we're going to click plus. And then we're going to go to connectors, and then we can go to add connector, and then we can add a custom connector, or we can browse connectors. Now, what is a connector? What's the purpose of a connector? Well, a connector, basically, to keep it simple, it lets you connect, for instance, RFs. If you don't know what this is search engine optimization. It lets you connect Canva. For instance, if you want to make thumbnails, better thumbnails, right? Let's say Cloudflare. This is basically developing a website as an example, or deploying a website. Google Drive. Hopefully I don't have to explain that one. All of these, vidIQ as an example. This is a custom connector, by the way. But what this entire thing is it lets AI, in this case Claude, connect to one of these. And when Claude connects to one of these, it's able to access it and use it, which means if I say, hey, I want you to come up with the best thumbnail for this video, and I want you to compare it against other similar videos, right? It can do that, but it needs a connector to do that. And how does it do it? It can do it using vidIQ as an example, right? So it'll like look at your video's topic, and it'll probably ask you about your video's topic. You'll have to say what your video's topic is, and it'll look through all those videos, and then it will be able to tell you, okay, this is a similar trend amongst those thumbnails, right? It can also tell you, for instance, like, let's say you're looking at what kind of video should I make, right? What are people looking to watch? vidIQ, once again. Like, this is a custom connector. Now, how do you even add a connector in? So we're going to go through both of them. It's pretty quick, honestly. All you're going to do, if you want to add a connector, you're just going to click that little button right there. And this right here, wow, they just keep adding more connectors. That's crazy. Replets here. That's surprising. So, anyways, so what you're going to do is you're just going to click plus. And once you click plus, it's going to bring you up to a new web page, right? And then you're going to connect it to this, and then yeah, you're going to connect the account, and that's all you do, right? Suddenly now Claude is able to connect to that. Now that's a pretty big deal in my opinion, because Claude being able to access other sorts of things, for instance, it can tell you, let's say, if you don't know what this one was, if you don't know what Replit was or any of these things, right? This is like making an idea into an app way easier. And this Lovable is the same thing, pretty much, right? If you wanted to answer your Gmail for you, you can have it answer your Gmail. Claude and just AI in general is going to do a lot of things. Now, I personally am using Claude, so I'm going to be talking about Claude and how you do it on Claude. But basically the same thing sort of applies to ChatGPT and OpenAI. Now, let's go back to connectors and let's go to a custom connector. Now, what is a custom connector? So a custom connector is actually something you will need an MCP server for. And in this case, it's vidIQ. Now, if you look for vidIQ under the regular connectors, you're not going to find it. So we're actually going to go under the regular connectors right here, and we're going to add vidIQ. But we're going to realize it doesn't exist, because these are the only available ones. As you can see, this one is a custom one. So how do you get this custom one? Well, all you're going to do is you're going to open a new tab, and then you're going to say, hey, what is it asking for, right? So let's go back to what it was asking for when we said add custom connector. So we're going to go to add custom connector here. It says it wants you to give the name. So what are you going to call it? What's this custom connector called? And then next, the remote MCP server URL. So what you can actually do is you could just copy this entire thing. take a screenshot like this, and then you're going to paste it right in here. And then you're going to say, what, for instance, how do I get the MCP key for vidIQ? I already have vidIQ installed, as if you didn't see before, but we're going to say, how do I get the MCP key for vidIQ? And it's going to tell you the answer of how you do this. So it can even walk you through the process of how you get this right here, because you want this connected, right? So there's a couple sites, they don't always have an MCP key or an API key. Sometimes you will need an API key. But yeah, that's number one. Number two, after that, is Claude. How do you know what to prompt Claude in the first place? How do you give Claude a good prompt? What does a good prompt even look like? Well, a good prompt actually looks something along the lines of not even having to write it yourself. That's right. So what are we going to do? Once again, we're going to go online on the web, or for that matter, we can ask Claude to do this, but I'm just going to go on the web because it's quicker right now because it's running, just because I want to show you that it is able to find it. Claude, how to give prompt, right? And right here, you're going to see this. So prompting best practices. So this is pretty important. You're going to take this page and you're basically just going to copy it. And then you're going to paste it into your Claude right here. And you're going to do the exact same thing, by the way. For instance, let's say there's different ways to prompt each of them. So if you want it to prompt Fable 5, you would take this page and you would copy it. And you would paste it right in there. And let's say you wanted to also, for some reason, have a prompt for Opus 4.8. You're going to take Opus 4.8, you're going to copy it, right? So hopefully you sort of get where this is going. You basically copy this, and then afterwards, you're going to say something, especially if it's Fable 5. I'm going to do Fable 5 as an example, because I think this is going to be the future. This is going to be when AI really starts making a bit more of a noticeable difference. And then anything after Fable, if there is like another model, for instance, after Mythos, that's definitely going to take over. Anyways, so what you're going to say is you're going to say what your topic is, right? Like, I want to maybe build an app. And then, or actually a video game. Let's do video game. A video game. Now, after you say, I want to build a video game, you also have to make sure that it knows what you're asking for in the first place when you put in these things right here, right? Now you're gonna say, because this is Opus 4.8, it's not Fable, right? You're gonna say, make me a prompt for Fable 5 in order to make this video game. I want XYZ. Doesn't really matter what it is, right? And another important thing with this prompt, in my opinion, as well, especially if it's a Fable 5 prompt, this pertains more to Fable 5. Opus can't really pull something like this off as well. But if it's Fable 5, you can also say something like, I want you to judge this. I want you to create judges for this game that will be made, and then you're going to label all of the judges, right? You're going to say this this person, for instance, he is a more serious player, this person's more casual, this person's a spender, this person's not a spender. You get the point, right? You're going to give different target markets in this case. And then after you say that, you're going to say, we're just going to imagine judges times 100. We're just going to say make 100 judges, right? And you're going to have to be specific with the kind of judges you're looking for. And if you don't have an idea, then you can tell Claude to make those judges. It might not be as good. I think Fable 5 actually is pretty good, so it probably might be able to pull that off. But just having a general idea of sort of your target market might be helpful, or even asking it what you think the target market is. What would be the target market for that kind of a product, right? Based on how you advertise it and stuff. So I want you to do this. Now you will try to make the game so that it is able to reach said target market. Something sort of like this. Now, I'm not going to go into like a detailed thing about this because once again, this is Opus 4.8, and honestly, I can't use Fable right now. If I could use Fable, I'd be using Fable. I wouldn't even be making videos. But because this is Opus, this is basically something along these lines that you're going to be typing in, right? And basically, what you're doing is you're getting AI in this case to create 100 judges. Those judges then look at the video game, and based on their personalities, they say this game is good or bad, right? And if the judges, for instance, let's say the majority of the judges say that this video game is bad, right? Then Claude automatically goes back, readjusts it, and then tests it again against those judges. So that's sort of what you can do. You can also do that with like different products. So for instance, you'd say like, I want to create a product, right? Create which product would survive, create, or maybe even create 5 products for me, and then assign 100 judges. What will the judges choose? So get rid of the losers, right? What is going to be the main product that all of these judges would choose out of those 5 products? That's sort of an example. So yeah, that is, by the way, just for Claude on your desktop. That is actually not even including Claude Code, which is much, much different. And I will get that set up right now, so you can hopefully see what this looks like. Okay, so it should be this one. Yes, there it is. All right, so this right here is Claude Code. Now, Claude Code is very, very nice because Claude Code is actually stored on your computer, so it's able to actually read your files. This is the third thing about AI. I should have mentioned that earlier. So Claude Code is able to basically read your files. Now, I have this in Visual Code Studio, so it's a little bit different. If you actually type in Claude Code, right, if you downloaded Claude Code, it would not look like this. It would look like a regular terminal, or like a Windows PowerShell. You could just type that in your computer right now, and you'll see what Windows PowerShell looks like, right? That's sort of how Claude Code looks. In Visual Code Studio, it looks a little nicer. Now, what you can do with this is you can basically say this is for instance, like there's different modes of effort that you can give, which makes it a little more convenient, in my opinion. Depends on what you use it for. This is especially, in my opinion, used if you're like creating multiple agents. If you want this thing right here, this model, to create multiple agents afterwards, and then have those agents run. So for instance, you would have like a Fable model as an example, create multiple different agents, multiple different Opus agents, or multiple different Haiku agents or Sonnet agents, right? It'll create these AIs in the background, have them run and give them commands. And once they work with each other in parallel, or they don't work with each other in parallel, depends how you do it. That's agent workflows. That's pretty important. I guess I probably shouldn't get into that much detail, actually. So yeah, this is how you choose the model, right? If you do install Visual Code Studio and then install Claude Code on Visual Code Studio, this is how it'll look. Now, let's say you wanted, for instance, to access some sort of files on your computer. Let's say, for instance, I want you to move I don't know. Let's take an example. So I want Claude Code to move one file location to another. So I want, okay, yeah, that's a good example. Keys for Creator Studio and Studio Game. I'll take a picture of this, right? So it'll actually just move this file. This file found in the videos folder over to the projects folder. And it will basically automatically do that. Another thing is really important is which one of these do you choose? Now, a lot of people, when they open up Visual Code Studio and they don't have Claude automatically set for auto mode. Oops. Okay. Well, that doesn't need to be on Ultra X High Code. Didn't need to do that, but that's fine. A lot of people who basically use Visual Code Studio, most likely they would have this automatically set to auto mode as an example, right? If you don't do that, then what's going to happen is Claude is going to constantly ask if it's allowed to like run a command, right? So like, am I allowed to do this bash command? And it's going to like say this a million times and it's going to get boring, right? So yeah, there you go. And it can move, it can basically access your desktop. Now that's a pretty big deal in my opinion. So hopefully you guys see and sort of get an idea of AI and how to use it a little bit better. I think those are basically the three main things. Honestly, after that, it's really up to you. Like, do you know how to use it? Do you know what sort of problem you're going to solve, right? I mean, I did make a video on this actually, which will be, I think already published. It should be published already. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found the video helpful and informative. If you have any more questions, please, once again, leave them down in the comments below. I'm pretty sure I covered just about everything. In my opinion, those are like the really, really, really important things. I don't think you really need to know about like agent teams and stuff, because that's basically where you have Claude, for instance, it's like confusing if you're sort of even getting used to AI, and this is sort of where Future Shock makes some sense. But basically, you would have one Claude spawn in like another Claude, and then another Claude, and then another Claude, and then these three Claudes who are spawned in work with each other, and then they like report back to this Claude, and then this Claude says this is good, this is bad, and if it's bad, he sends it back, and then these three teams work again on it, and then it sends it back to the main one, and then the main one sees if it matches the criteria and conditions, right? So it's like this it's honestly very, very efficient. It's insanely efficient because this is basically how a company works, right? Except it's doing this like at way, way faster speeds. So hopefully you guys understand what exactly I'm talking about. If you don't, there's other videos on agent teams that explain that, but that's just like the very simple sort of version of how it works. It's not important to know that they like work in parallel or something, right? Especially if this is supposed to be like an introductory AI video. But yeah. So anyways, if you have any questions, once again, leave them down in the comments below. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.